guys, it's Cass here, and today I'm going to be giving you some graphic novel recommendations. Here's the thing, I don't even know what I'm going to pick out yet. This is my graphic novel shelf. I'm just going to go through here and grab some stuff and show you it, and there will be stuff for everyone. I read a lot of random stuff. Oh, Hearthstopper, you know it exists, but also it's really good and you can read it for free online. I'll leave that in the link in the description if you don't know. But yeah, I'll throw in some ones you might have heard of, maybe some ones that you haven't, maybe all of them you have heard of if you've been here for a while, but let's just kick straight in. First of all, potentially ones you've heard of. They've both got similar vibes, so I'm putting them together, and also they're together on my shelf because it's in alphabetical order. So I have Check Please by Ngozi Ukezu and Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Ganuccio. These are both slice of life, contemporary, doing your everyday thing. This one's about hockey and university. This one is about baking. They're both also gay. So yeah, if you just want some chill reading times, this is a complete story. I think there might be another one coming out, but this is a complete story. This one is the first half, I think there's 2 volumes, the first half of this story, which is the first few semesters of the school year. So if we're talking about Check Please, this is a sort of artwork in here. It's very cutesy, it's very easy to read. They're very big panels. And it's sweet. There's not really much nastiness or drama in here. It's just kind of cute. Pretty similar to Bloom really, which has a very different aesthetic. So in Bloom, it's all colour graded to one colour, so it all sort of fits like that. Next up, I can't do recommendations without talking about Chew, because it's my favourite, so deal with it. This is by John Layman and Rob Guillory. This is a 12-book series, but there's also a sequel out, different artist but same author, called Chew, but spelt like that. This is a weird and wonderful series. It's sci-fi. The world has had a chicken pandemic. Loads of people have died of this chicken, so chicken is outlawed. And then there's this FDA who go around and make sure people aren't selling and eating chicken because it's illegal, but also food powers. So our main guy, whatever he eats, he gets a psychic impression of what's happened. So if he eats a bit of pork, for example, he knows what happened to the pig when it was reared, how it was slaughtered. He has all the memories of it. If he eats a piece of human, he knows how they were murdered. So this is also a detective series where each volume goes around and they're solving murders and weird things that happened. And it's just really great, basically. And loads of weird and wonderful food powers exist throughout the whole series. So here is the artwork. It's very good. Great series. If you're interested in dark, grungy, criminal stuff set in the 80s, then maybe Deadly Class will be to your liking, by Rick Remender, Craig and Luffridge. Although after the 2nd volume there's a different artist. Some people think it's a big jump. I think it's fine, you can deal with it. But yes, this is about a school for assassins, and it's very morbid, as you might think, because school for assassins, murdering people. There's loads of different cliques in here. There's like high school cliques, but also murdering people. This one's also been turned into a TV show, so watch that if you want. It was alright. And this is a sort of artwork, so very, very bold colours, very different if you open it. It works with different colour grading all the way through, so yeah. Something great for adults and kids is Aldeho by CC Bell. This is non-fiction, even though she is an animal, but it's so kids can enjoy it and stuff. And it's just about being deaf at school and her growing up. And yeah, like I say, you can read it with your kids. The artwork is really kid friendly, and so is the story. But also as an adult, because I'm an adult, I also enjoyed it. It's just talking about her process of being deaf at school and learning how to deal with that. Next up we have Fence. This one is kind of annoying. There's 4 volumes out and the story's definitely not finished, but I don't even know if they're going to carry it on, which is really annoying. But this is also another slice of life one, this time about fencing. As you can tell, it's just people fencing at school and people becoming friends and just normal life. Fencing. It's for people that don't want all the action-packed fantasy, sci-fi, crazy stuff. There you go, and here's the artwork. The art's really nice in here. It's really clean and really bold. So there you go. Next up, another one great for adults and kids, and also I freaking loved this, it was so cute. This is Lightful Volume 1, The Girl and the Guardian by Tim Probert. And this is absolutely stunning. The artwork is gorgeous, the story is gorgeous. It's a fantasy tale about this girl whose grandfather goes off on an adventure, but he's also got memory issues, so she's worried about him not being able to find where he's going and also not be able to find his way home. So she meets up with this random dude and they go on an adventure and get into all sorts of hijinks and mishaps, and it's just really good. It's absolutely stunning, the artwork is. Also, she has a cat that's with them all the way through doing very cattish things. So yeah, it looks like this. It's just so pretty. All the fantasy elements are there. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Next up, one that definitely doesn't need an introduction, and that is Mouse, well, The Complete Mouse by Art Spiegelman. This is non-fiction about World War II and Art Spiegelman's father, who was in the concentration camps. And for somebody who doesn't enjoy reading about World War I and 2 because it's pretty much all we learned about at school in history, this was really good. It's told in the perspectives of him being a mouse and the Germans being cats. So it's sort of got that allegory there, and it's just really good and haunting, and it's told then and now. So it shows in the panels him talking to his dad and saying, oh yeah, this is going to be in the comic, like in the comic. And then it also shows you what happened back then when he was in the camp and when he was trying to hide and escape and stuff like that. So it's really good. And the artwork is this super simple style. I wasn't sure about it when I first started reading it, but it just, you just sort of look past it. You're not even part of the story. You're just reading it like you can see it happening, so it works. Next up we have Nailbiter. I've only read 2 volumes of this, but I'm definitely intrigued. This is by Williamson, Henderson, Gazowski, Hill, Levin, loads of peeps. And this one is about a certain town in America where loads of serial killers have come from, and then there's a detective trying to figure out whether there's a reason all these people have come from this town. And there's murder, there's gruesome stuff happening. There's one dude called Nailbiter who is one of said serial killers, but he managed to somehow get off as not guilty when he went to trial, so he's just chilling about the town and it's sort of an adversary but also helping out. It's one of those, is he friend, is he foe? And yeah, I've only read 2 volumes so far, but it's pretty decent. Gruesome and weird. And here is the artwork we have in here. Next up, I have Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. This is one of the first graphic novels I ever read. I read a volume of Deadpool first and then this, and it pretty much got me into reading comics and graphic novels. This is really easy to read. It's about a girl who is the apprentice to the villain of the story rather than the hero, and just her doing apprenticey things. She's also a shapeshifter, she turns into a dragon, and it's really easy and fun to read. And the artwork in here is really simple to follow, so if it is one of the first books you read, and I think it's good for that, because sometimes when pages are really busy and there's loads going on, it's kind of hard to figure out what to look at first. So I think this is a pretty good starting point. Personally, when I first started reading comics, it took me a while to remember that I had to look at the pictures. I was just reading the words really quickly and getting through it, and I'm like, you have to wait and actually look at the pictures. So yeah, just a little pointer for people that don't know how to read comics, I guess. Next up, Preacher by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. This is a western, a horror, a thriller, a weird thing. There's a lot about religion in here, but it's also like really dark. So in here we have a preacher, and this thing has got inside him that is the creation of a human and an angel having a baby, and it gives him the word of God, so whatever he says people do specifically. And then there's a dude that's a vampire. Throughout this series there's lots of crazy weird things going on. It's got a lot of dark stuff going on. Trigger warnings for probably everything in the whole world. If you're not interested in stuff, don't read this, but it's really good. This one's also been turned into a TV show. I've only seen the first series though. I probably should watch that because I really like Joseph Gilgan. And here is the artwork in here. This one is a bit of an older series, so it's got sort of an older style, if that makes sense. We're probably about halfway through, or we're some way through, so let's just head on over to the kitty cats and then I'll be back with the rest. He wants some food. He's really greedy. I fed him twice today, but he wants more. On your table. Yes, I know. This is quite a recent one. This is The Sad Ghost Club by Liz Meddings, and it's really cute, and it's really, like, I saw myself in this because it's about this little ghost dude that's not really good with people, introvert, at a party in the background, sort of like, that's me. I saw myself in this as a little ghost character. But yeah, it's just really sweet and really nice, and it's just about people that are introverts or have social anxiety or not really good with lots of people, finding a friend who's also similar to them. And there is a second volume of this which I definitely want to read at some point. And here's the artwork in here. Again, the main character's got a cat, maybe that's why I like it. Yeah, just chilling, being a ghost, doing ghosty stuff. Next up, you definitely have heard of this, and I've probably read it, and that is Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is such a good series. It's a sci-fi series about these two characters from warring nations that get together, have a baby, and everyone wants to kill them. But then that's just very basic what it's about. It's just a whole host of characters, loads of stuff happens, loads of different planets. Characters will come and go as the authors please. They're not afraid to kill off people that you think have probably got plot armor when they haven't. It's like, pfft, bye. And it's just really good and really intriguing, and I read it in the full compendium, which I think was a really good choice because I was just like eating it all up. This one has started again. They stopped for a little while, for a couple of years in fact, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting the next volume after this when it's all collected up to carry on the story, because the cliffhanger exists. And this one's going to be hard to show the artwork because I don't want to drop it. So here we go. This is the sort of artwork we have in here. Ooh. I hope I don't show any spoilers whenever I do this because I'm just flipping to random pages. But yeah, there we go. Next up I have Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley. This is another one that's good for people that don't want an ongoing series, they just want a contained story. This is the whole story, and it is about a woman who is a baker, and then she finds weird magical mushrooms that mean she can travel in time and change things in the past, and then stuff happens, obviously, inevitably. And yeah, it's just a really fun read. This is the sort of artwork in here. Also, you might know the author because he's the author of Scott Pilgrim. But yes, there we go. Next up, another of my absolute favourite series, and that is Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire. This also was turned into a TV show, but I got halfway through and I had to turn it off because it was really annoying, because they make it really happy and positive and nice, and also one of my favourite characters is horrible on the TV show. And this is really dark and gritty and depressing in places, but also uplifting in places. So it's definitely different vibes. So if you've seen the TV show and you enjoy it, or if you've seen it and you didn't enjoy it because it was too fla-di-da, maybe you'll like the comics, because this is set at a time where loads of the human race has died out, but also all babies that are born since this weird thing that's killing people are born with bits of animal parts on them, and then certain people in the world think that they're the harbingers of this disease and want to kill all the kids. So yeah, as you can tell, it's pretty dark, and we follow our main character Gus, Sweet Tooth, and him going out into the world and trying to figure out what's going on. And there's loads of great characters along the way, and it's a really good series, and it's quite short as well. There's only 6 volumes, I believe. Yeah, there's only 6 volumes in here, so it's an easily digestible series. It's not ongoing for ages, and it's great, and I love Bobby, and the TV show made him horrific. And here is the artwork in here. You might notice that it's on matte paper rather than shiny paper, which is very different to a lot of comics, but it definitely works with the vibe. I love this series, read it, basically, is what I'm saying. Next I have The Witch Boy by Molly Knox Ostertag. This one is a series of comics, but they're quite chunky. And it's about a boy who wants to be a witch, but in his family, boys are shapeshifters, girls are witches, and it's about gender identity and doing what you want and being who you want to be, wrapped up in this magical story about witches and this bad thing coming to attack them and them trying to make it not attack them. So yeah. And here is the artwork we have in here. And then last but not least, I'm going to be talking about Young Avengers. So this is the only Marvel comic I've mentioned on here, I prefer Image out of like the main ones, and then a lot of the other ones are just random things, but Young Avengers I really enjoyed. It actually has a first run. This is the whole first run, and then like 10 years later they rebooted it, so it's definitely good to start with this one, but if you can't get your hands on it, then like the rebooted version is fine. And it's just exactly what it says on the tin. It's just loads of young teens being their own sort of Avenger group. Some of them are related, so for example you've got Ant-Man's daughter is in here, but some of them have just taken on the mantle of an Avenger character person. And there are other characters that have lineage towards the Avengers that you don't find out until a bit later in the series, so I'm not going to mention that. But yeah, and it's just really good, and all the, like pretty much at the end of this run there's like 1 or 2 characters that are straight in it anymore, and there are main characters that are Latino and black, and 2 of the main group are gay and in a relationship, so all that jazz. But also it's just really fun as well. I think he doesn't come into this one, but in this one there's got young Loki, who's a little bit of a troll and is just doing naughty things, and yeah, it's just good. And there's not that many of these either. There are a few crossovers with Runaway as well. I've not mentioned Runaways, it's there. That's fine, but I didn't want to like just talk about all the comics in here because that's not recommendations. Runaways is fine, but I gave a lot of them 3 stars. But anyway, Young Avengers. This is the artwork in the original run of it. As you can see, it's very Marvel. And then the new run, I think it's a little bit more like colourful, and yeah, it looks like this, the new version does. Kind of similar, they have the similar sort of vibes. So there we have it. Those were some comic and graphic novel recommendations. There are some other ones that are also quite obvious. Obviously I talked about Saga, which is a really obvious one. Also Lock and Key is really good, but I was like, I feel like most people have heard of that one probably as well, and I haven't finished it. I've still got the last volume of Lock and Key to read, so I was like, we'll leave that one out. But yeah, hopefully you found 1 or 2 things here that you've never heard of and will now want to read. And hopefully there was something for everyone. We had sort of slice of life stuff, we had the sci-fi, we had the horror creepy stuff, we had the non-fiction in there, we had kids stuff. So yeah, I felt like I covered a lot of different bases there, hopefully. So let me know down below, what are some of your favourite comics or graphic novels, or if you've not really read any and now you've sort of got some ideas of what you want to read, let me know down below. And if this is your first video by me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others, and if you continue to enjoy, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video.